everybody, thank you so much for watching. It is so good to see you all again, and if you're new here, then a very warm Mel's Yarniverse welcome to you. Today's video is going to be an interesting one because today we're going to find out if this crocheter can knit. Stick around and we'll find out. Okay, so before we get started, I just need to clarify that this isn't the first time I've picked up a set of knitting needles, but I just want to draw your attention to some of my past projects and you can decide for yourself whether or not I fall into the beginner knitter category or not. I definitely think that I do, but I'll leave it up to you to decide. Let's take a closer look at some of my my fantastic creations. And yeah. So this is a gorgeous beanie that I made about 3 or 4 years ago. I was enjoying the process so much that I forgot to stop. And it's pretty big. Let me try it on for you. I mean, I get that it was supposed to be a slouch beanie, and like, in all honesty, it feels quite comfortable and it's actually quite a good fit. But I mean, really, what did I do? Oh, wow. Let's take a bit of a closer look at it. So you can see that the stitches are actually fairly even. I didn't do too badly. So this particular project was knitted on circular needles in the round, which was something very new for me at the time. I'd only ever knitted on straight needles before. So using circular needles was very new and very exciting for me. And as you can see, it's obviously way too long. It was designed as a slouch beanie, and I did follow a very, very basic pattern for this. I couldn't find a tutorial anywhere or anything, so I was very much left to my own devices with this pattern. And as you can see, I got so carried away with just the rhythmic, repetitive movement of knitting that I just kept on going. Pretty much ignored my row counter. And this was the end result. It's obviously way too big and just looks ridiculous when you wear it. And when it came to actually fastening off the beanie, so decreasing and then casting off and everything, all it said in the pattern was decrease and fasten off to close beanie. There were no other instructions, so I was really confused. I had no clue what I was doing. This poor thing had been frogged 2 or 3 times. You should have seen the panic on my face when all the stitches came off the needles and I had to re-thread them. Some were backwards. I dropped a couple. I panicked and got on the phone and called my mum. I said, "Mum, please help me. It's my very first beanie and I can't do it." So Mum came in to the rescue and helped me to put everything back on the needles again, and she straightened everything out. Then she tried to explain what a magic loop is, and for knitters it is a very different thing to the magic ring or the magic circle for crocheters. For crochet, it's very much a starting point. So you start your magic ring to start your project, you put all your stitches into the ring and then you keep going. That's not the case with knitting. With a magic loop in knitting, it's a way to decrease and reduce the number of stitches so that you can then weave your end through and fasten off. I don't know enough about it really to explain how it works, but it's quite an interesting technique that I clearly know nothing about and didn't do too well. So some of these stitches are extremely loose. There are probably dropped stitches in here. You can see how uneven these stitches are across there. It's not great. I did get it done though. So for me, technically, this qualifies as a success, but if I was asked to do it again, I'd have absolutely no idea how. I have no idea how I managed to do this. I kind of tried at one point, all of my stitches were on double pointed needles because somebody told me I'd have to switch them across and then work with those to get the stitch numbers down. Then someone else recommended that they be on circular needles and use the magic loop. And between all of that, because the pattern never told me how to finish it, I was just very, very confused. There are so many different techniques. Unlike crochet, where you fasten off and weave your ends in, and that's pretty much the end of the story, with knitting there's a lot of different techniques, depending on whether you're using straight needles, circular needles, what have you. Yeah, it can change a lot, and it was very confusing for me. So the fact that it got done at all, and the fact that I have a finished beanie, is a success. I'm chalking it up as a success at least, but I have no intention of doing that again very soon. That can wait. I think decreasing and fastening off and magic loops and everything, that's something I'm going to have to spend a good weekend processing and learning and watching a few tutorials and reading a couple of good books and all those sorts of things, and really spending time focusing on it. My other project I'd like to share with you is my amazing scarf. My brilliant scarf. Now, it's only this big. If you look closely, you will see the knots where I didn't know how to join my new yarn when the first ball ran out. So I just tied a giant knot in it and kept going. You can see that I didn't fasten off properly or weave in my ends properly. So that's probably going to pull apart any second. There are holes. It's wonky. Yeah, it's not great. This was a gift for Mr. Yarniverse, and as much as he loved it, bless him, I've never seen him wear it. He did say how much he loved it and then said how hot it made him. The wool makes him very, very hot. Granted, I will say I've never heard him say that when he wears my grandmother's jumper that he was gifted not too long ago. My dad went through his wardrobe and gifted Mr. Yarniverse one of my nan's amazing knitted jumpers, and he's worn it almost every day since. And I've never once heard him complain about being hot. But if I bring this scarf out, all of a sudden, oh no, wool makes me way too hot. And I can understand why. Yeah, it's not great. Again, I got it finished and I'm proud of it. And for me personally, it wasn't really about the end result, to be honest. It was more about the fact that at the time it gave me exactly what I needed, which was a little bit of de-stressful hobby, something that I could just tune out the world, sit down, relax, get that repetitive motion happening, and just flex those crafty muscles. You know, feeling the yarn working through my hands and my fingers was just delightful. Having the knitting needles in my hand, I just felt so calm and so peaceful, and that's really what I needed at the time. So regardless of the fact that the end result isn't fantastic and is literally just row for row the knit stitch, so garter stitch, it's literally just that from start to finish. But you know what? It was just such a lovely experience, and it's one that I'd like to experience again, but with more focus. I'd like to really get my head around knitting techniques, different styles, different projects, and really sink my teeth into it, and with a focus that I didn't have in the past. I guess at the time I just needed something to pass the time, to help me de-stress, calm down, but with no real intention, because I was getting so frustrated, because the pattern wasn't great, and I don't really know how to read knitting patterns. They're written very differently to crochet patterns. Some of them anyway. Some are very similar, but yeah, some of them can be really quite complicated and have different techniques. The other thing you need to worry about, which is different from crochet, is when you crochet, the yarn always stays in the back of your project. You can always tell which direction you need to be focused on because you can tell by where the yarn is sitting. If it's in the back of your project, then you've got the right side facing you. So you know that your yarn needs to be behind you. Not so much with knitting. With knitting, you move your yarn forward for some stitches and back for other stitches and around on a certain way and then around a different way for a different technique. So there's a lot there I need to learn. And you know what? I'm finally ready to take up that challenge. I'm really, really excited to do this. So I started looking around a couple of months ago and started sort of taking notes on good beginner projects, projects that people would recommend for beginners. So again, I'm not a complete beginner. I have knitted before. I have knitted, but again, I wouldn't clarify myself as a knitter. I would say very much still in the beginner's phase. So I was looking for beginner-friendly projects. And I found this fantastic petite knit scarf. Now, Petite Knit is a well-known designer. You've probably, even crocheters have probably heard of Petite Knit. The Petite Knit design has three. It has a scarf, a shawl, and a hood. And I'd like to eventually make all three. I'd like to use those patterns as a guide for myself to see how I'm developing in my skill set. And then from there, I can branch out. My ideal goal is to make myself a jumper, basically just a very standard, very basic top-down raglan sweater. But I'd like to use some really fancy or bougie yarn. I'll tell you a story. When I was about 18 or 19, I found this glorious purple sweater hanging in Maya here in Australia. Now, Maya was, not so much now, but at the time it was a very sort of exclusive boutique-y kind of store. It was one of those stores where if you walked through it with your parents, your mum would always say, put your hands in your pockets and don't touch anything. We weren't allowed to touch anything, so it was one of those kind of stores. It was, you needed a bit of money to shop there, basically. So my family was not a Maya family, and that's okay. I found this beautiful purple jumper and I absolutely loved it. I adored it. And one day I walked through, heading off to get some lunch or something, and I saw it hanging on a clearance rack for about $50, I think, and I couldn't believe it. I was just, I grabbed it. Somehow I managed to have the money to buy it. And the first thing I did when I got it home was try it on, and it was just so lovely. You know those pieces that you get that just sing pure luxury to you? They're like made of cashmere or angora or something so soft and so beautiful, and as soon as you touch it and you feel it, you get that, oh, that's so beautiful feel. It was something like that. I couldn't tell you what it was made of now, but it was so lovely and I treasured it so much. I'm going to have a dig around and see if I can find a photo of me wearing it. I'm sure there's one or two around. Actually, I think I'd found out that I was pregnant about 2 weeks before we took the photos. So if I can find it, they're probably very dramatic. They're probably me holding my tummy and being all dramatic and stuff because I just found out I was pregnant. But if I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen now. And it was just that taste of luxury that I've never had up until that point, and probably not really again. And so what my dream would be is to try and make something myself that can recapture that sense of just beautiful luxury. The jumper itself and the design is very, very simple, very, very basic. It wasn't the design that drew me to it. It was the color of the yarn and the feel of it. It was absolutely beautiful. So eventually I would like to get to a stage in my knitting ability to be able to just emulate that in some way, to use some really lovely, beautiful yarn to make something that's just extra special and means so much to me. And so that's my end goal. That's what I'd like to do. But to get there, I've got to start with the basics. I've got to start at the beginning and try something basic and work my way up from there. And this time I'm hoping to learn the techniques that kind of terrified me when I was doing stuff like this. I want to learn the correct way to do things. I want to remember to move that yarn forward and back at the right time, to track my rows, to track my stitches. And I can tell you that having crocheted for the last few years is going to be so helpful. Now that I have that knowledge stored away up here, now that I have that base to ground me, I think I'm going to do much better with my knitting than I did before. So the first step, I've downloaded the Petite Knit Scarf pattern. I'm going to have a quick look through it and see if there's anything in there that I need to check out, maybe look up. I'm going to allow myself the opportunity to check YouTube for any tutorials for certain techniques. I'm not sure if there's anything in there that I need to look up and learn before I get started. So I'll do that. And then I'll come back to you and let you know how I'm going. Oh, also, I'm going to have to share with you the yarn I'm going to use too. So I'll have to share my materials too. So give me a second to get organised and we'll have a closer look at them. So here are the knitting needles. So I've got the Knit Pro interchangeable circular needles. These are the 4mm. Let's just grab those out and have a good look at them. Oh, they feel lovely. Let's come. Nope, they don't want to. So these, as I said, are 4mm. Oh, they're so smooth. Oh, that's really smooth. That's really lovely. So because they're interchangeable, they've got these little screw ends here where you attach your cable. So I'll do that now. Now this is a 60 centimetre cable, which is exactly what they've asked me to use. Inside of here, we've got a little tightening tool, a cable key. That helps you to tighten your cable to your needle, and some stoppers, some knitting stoppers. So if I need to put my project down for a length of time and I don't want the stitches to come off the ends of the needles, I can take the needles off, or if I need to use my needles for another project, take the needles off and just apply these stoppers to the end of the cable, just like this. And then that just holds your knitting in place, and you know that your stitches aren't going to come off that cable, which is a fantastic idea, isn't it? So that's what they are. Let's just attach the needles themselves. Nice and smooth. No issue there. I don't even think I need the cable key to tighten it, but I will anyway, just in case. Yeah, no, that's fine. It's nice and secure, which is a good sign. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. Here we go. And again, nice and smooth. So we've got our cable attached and our needles ready to go. So now let's look at the yarn. Ooh, look at this. Isn't it lovely? Oh, oh, that is so soft. Oh, it smells beautiful. This is just lovely. So this particular yarn I got from the Great Ocean Road Woolen Mills. I actually bought it from them at the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. I was so excited to see them there. And I've always wanted to work with their La Bella range, which is exactly what this is. This is their La Bella Red Marble. It's 30% alpaca and 70% merino. In each 100-gram hank, you get 200 meters of yarn, which is more than enough for this project. So I'm just giving you a closer look at this particular yarn. It is so lovely and so soft. I wish I could explain exactly how soft it is. That's to show you the thickness there. I think this is going to work up beautifully in a scarf. I wonder if I can get one of the shawls out of this as well. I wonder if I've got enough here for that. That is just beautiful. And I know that these dark flecks in this this particular wool came from an alpaca named Joy who lives out at the Great Ocean Road Woolen Mills. Isn't that lovely? Just beautiful. So what I need to do now is take one of these hanks and cake it up so I'm ready to work with it. So that's my next step. I'll grab my Swift and my yarn winder. Now, if you don't have a Swift at home, you can just use your knees. You can get 2 kitchen chairs and put them back to back and wrap your yarn around those kitchen chairs. So then you've got your hank, wrap it around the chairs, and then wind up your ball if you don't have a yarn winder, or grab an end, put it in your yarn winder and wind up your cake ready to go. So I'll grab my Swift and my yarn winder and get that done, and then once I'm all caked up and ready to go, I'll get started on my Sophie scarf. How exciting! So I've got my yarn ready and my needles all ready to go. That was a very loud bird. I'll try that again. I've got my yarn ready and my needles ready to go. I've got my pattern all set up. Now I just need to cast on. Okay, so I found a fantastic tutorial on YouTube called Master the Viral Sophie Shawl, and it's by Flower City Fibers, and I cannot recommend it enough. It is fantastic and it's been so helpful, especially with that continental cast on at the beginning. That was something that from memory I could do without even thinking about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Once I learnt how to do it, I knew exactly how to move my hands, and for some reason today it took ages for me to get the hang of it again, which was really weird. But then once I figured out exactly how to hold the yarn, again I wanted to thread it the way I normally do to keep my crochet tension intact, so it felt weird to have the yarn in a different way. And I think maybe that might have been what was throwing me, but I finally got there in the end. So I did my cast on 7 rows in, so let's have a look at that. So that's what we're looking like at the moment. That's the first 7 rows. That's one side and that's the other. So I think I'm doing okay. I'm struggling to remember to pull the yarn forward when I need to and to make sure it's out the back when I need to, but so far so good. I'm loving the look of the yarn, the way it's working up. That's absolutely beautiful. And so far, these knitting needles, the Knit Pro Symphony interchangeable needles, have been lovely to work with. They're so soft and smooth. Absolutely beautiful. But so far, so good. So that's where I'm up to so far. So I might just keep going with this and I'll check in again with you soon. Okay, so I'm slowly getting the hang of it. There is a real rhythm to it. It's not a complicated pattern once you know the techniques that you need to know to make it. That's the hardest part, is figuring out a couple of different techniques that you need to know to make the actual scarf. Once you've got those down, then it all just becomes kind of like rote. It's just a matter of actually getting it done. I think this is coming together quite well. It's very slow, obviously. Like that was my 11th row, and it doesn't look like I've done much at all. I'm hoping once we get going and we get a little bigger that things will look a little bit more impressive. But for now, I'm not struggling too much, which I'm really, really happy with. The yarn is working up beautifully, I have to say. It's lovely to work with. Really enjoying working with this. It's just beautiful. I don't know how my tail got caught up in there. I'm just wondering what I've done there. Hopefully I haven't used my tail to make those stitches instead of my working yarn. It shouldn't be all the way up there. It should be down here somewhere. I might have to start again now that I know what I'm doing. I don't think my tail should be all the way up there. I'm just looking at that now. I don't think that's right. This tail should be down here. Shouldn't be up there. But now I know what I'm doing, and now I know how I need to do things. I think I might frog it back and start again. I've only done 11 rows, so I was just about to mark my 11th. But I think I'll start again just because that's bothering me. That shouldn't be there. And I don't want this to have any issues with it. I mean, you're weaving your tails anyway, I know, but if that's affected any of the stitches, then I'll be really upset with myself. So I might frog it back, start again. Now that I've got that rhythm down, I know what I'm doing. I know what is being asked of me in the pattern, which has been really easy to follow so far. Again, there are 2 or 3 different techniques you need to learn to make this. And once you've learnt those, then you're good as gold. And it's just a matter of tracking your stitches and tracking your rows. So I'm going to frog this back and start again and see how I go. And I think I'll be fine, but I'll check in with you once I'm back to here and let you know what it looks like. Yay, wish me luck, guys. Okay, so I'm back to where I was up to before, and it really didn't take me too long. I frogged it all back and started again, and now we can see that the actual tail is back where it should be. I'm starting to see these corners come together. So I've started my increases, which means every 8th row we increase, so it will very slowly start to grow. So we're going to have a straight line, and then we're going to grow a little bit further out. And then when we get to the middle, we start decreasing and decrease down the other side. So this is what I'm looking like at the moment. Again, I wish it was more impressive. This is after 11 rows. Doesn't look huge, but you know what? I'm really proud of this. I'm got that rhythm down pat now, so I'm really excited. I know what I'm looking for. As I said earlier, the Master the Viral Sophie Scarf tutorial by Flower City Fibres has been instrumental in helping, just in terms of learning those few techniques that I'd never heard of before. So knitting front and back and all those sorts of things. So I'm really glad I found that. If you're someone who's going to attempt to knit this as well, I highly recommend you checking out that tutorial. It's been fantastic for me. So now I plan to just sit back and just knit away to my heart's content. And obviously I'll check in with you again if I have any other issues or any other thoughts I need to share with you. And hopefully I'll come back soon and show you my progress, and I'll have something that sort of resembles a scarf. But for now, I'm just enjoying the process. It's been wonderful. All right, I'm going to keep knitting, and I'll see you soon. So I'm just about to hop into bed. I've been knitting for a good couple of hours now. And I'm not going to lie, I did actually frog this 2 or 3 times. This is the progress I've made so far. I'm quite happy with it. I'm about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 repeats away from halfway. So not quite at the halfway point just yet. But I just wanted to show you the construction of the scarf. You can see that it's got the flat edge along this side, and then you can see where the increases are all on the same side. So you can see that it starts off quite small and then gets thicker as it goes along. And then it will do the same in reverse on the other side. So I'm quite happy with it so far. There are a lot of mistakes in here, I'm not going to lie. And as I said, I did have to frog it once or twice, mainly around this area. And only because I either dropped some stitches or I had some trouble with stitches twisting on me. And because I didn't know how to pick up the stitches for the cords on the sides, I didn't know how to pick them back up and put them back on the needles. So I just ended up frogging the whole thing and going back to the beginning. And then the next time I got a little bit further up and the same thing happened. And I can see I've twisted a stitch here too. So yeah, there are mistakes being made. I am making a few mistakes here and there. But on the whole, I'm not disappointed. Again, this is the first time I've made this. I've learnt a lot already. And as you can see, as I'm going, I'm improving with each row. So my stitches are more consistent. The spacing's looking quite good. I'm not disappointed with how it's looking. Again, it's not perfect, but I'm not expecting perfection. I just want to start somewhere, learn a new technique, get better at that, and then move on to something new. So as long as I can see myself getting better as I go, I'm happy with that. So again, it's not perfect, but that's okay. I don't expect it to be. As long as I can see that I'm getting better, then that's all I care about. But I think I'm going to end it for tonight. I think that's as far as I'm going to go. I don't want to get even more tired and make more mistakes and then have to I'm definitely not going to frog it again if I make another mistake from here. If I make another mistake, then it stays in the project and I'll just leave it at that, and that's okay too. Again, this is not going to be a perfect piece. I never expected it to be, but I thought I would show you where I'm at, almost halfway, close to halfway. So that's where I'm at for the night. I'm going to go to bed and get some sleep, and I'll jump back on again in the morning and see how far I can get tomorrow. All right, guys. See you soon. Okay, so I am halfway through my Sophie scarf. I am very happy with the results so far. Let's take a closer look. Have a look at this. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I've been able to get this far. I'm really, really surprised. So far, I do have to say, I enjoy working with circular needles, but I'm finding that as the stitches get along the metal part here, they're starting to sort of grab and get a little bit bunched up. So I'm not sure if that's the Knit Pro needle itself. It is very, very smooth, so it doesn't feel like they should be catching, but sometimes they do. So I'm wondering if I should try a different brand of needle maybe. I'm not sure. You can see here, they're sliding. There you go. See, this last one here is now stuck where the cable meets the join. So yeah, that keeps happening where it keeps catching like that. And again, I don't know if that's just usual for circular needles or if it's this particular brand of needle. I don't know. But yeah, I'll go to grab and sort of move my stitches up and they'll get stuck there. So that's a bit of a problem. Using my beautiful stitch stopper. I got these from the sheep show from White Rabbit Handmade, or Homemade, I think. Handmade, White Rabbit Handmade. And I love them. They're adorable. So I hopefully will get some more of these soon. Absolutely gorgeous. And the yarn itself is working up absolutely beautifully. That addition of the alpaca is just just phenomenally soft. It just makes such a difference to the merino, which is already soft enough. But once you add that little dash of alpaca, oh, mwah, it's beautiful. All right, so what have I learnt so far? Okay, so what I'm learning is all the things that I don't know. So I don't know how to pick up a drop stitch. I don't know what to do. If all the stitches come off my needle, I don't have a lifeline threaded in through my stitches, which I know is once again playing with fire. So that's something that I will amend going forward. So that's something. I need to learn how to read stitches. I can't tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side of this scarf. They both look very similar. So if I do have to go back and frog some of the rows, like once again, there's no lifeline, but also how do I tell which rows are increased rows, which rows, when I move forward and I start my decreases, am I going to be able to tell where the decreases are? Learning how to pick up drop stitches, making sure they're not twisted around the wrong way, all those sorts of very foundational basics are all the things that I need to learn. And the fact that I'm now aware of that means that that's what I'll be spending my time doing in the next couple of days, is sitting down, sitting with some good videos, good tutorials that teach all those sort of things. I did find the Flower City Fibers tutorial to be fantastic, particularly for Sophie Scarf related issues. She's got a video that basically says, here's how to fix some of your mistakes. So I'll be spending a good amount of time watching that and re-watching that. But if you're aware of any other knitting tutorials or people I should be aware of, Karen at the Knitting Man did recommend that I check out Paddy Lyons Knitting. So I've had a good look at her. And then one of my subscribers also recommended another channel that I have subscribed to. So if you've got any tips or tricks for me, or if you know of anybody that could help me as with those foundational skills as a beginner, I'd like to build up my skill set to the point where I can start doing things like cabling and color work and all those sorts of things. But I need to learn those very basic skills, because I don't like that fear-induced intimidation of, if I drop this, I'm going to be in trouble. I would like this to be a nice, calming and relaxing thing, and I live in fear that I'm going to drop a stitch, that they're all going to come off the needle, that I'm going to do something wrong. And it's not the problem of making the mistake, it's that I don't know how to fix it. So those are the things I need to learn. So if you've got any recommendations for tutorials or for knitting podcasts or books that I can read, please by all means pop them down in the comments. You know I love reading my comments section. I'm always in there chatting away with everybody. If you've got any ideas for me, that would be fantastic, because I'm going to need to spend some time, like I did when I was first learning crochet. I pretty much watched just about every tutorial I could get my hands on. I just submerged myself with information, and that was a little bit of a bad thing, because I learnt multiple different ways of doing the same thing and they got a little bit confusing and stuff, whereas this time I know specific information I'm looking for. So I'm looking for those particular things. I'll work all that out and just give myself a bit more confidence in doing what I'm doing before I prepare for the next project. I think that would be really, really helpful. But so far, am I enjoying this? Absolutely. Loving it. It is so different from crochet. In terms of, it's definitely using less yarn. It is taking much longer to do something. So as simple as this might look, it has taken me 2 days to get to this point. And also my apologies for the massive bags under my eyes. I was up late last night doing the one more row shuffle, I guess, and kept convincing myself just a couple more rows and then go to bed. Or maybe a couple more. Oh, now you need to increase, so maybe do that and then go to bed. So I did that for a couple of hours. So yeah, so it's taken me 2 days just to get to this point. But I am happy that I am officially at the halfway point. Wish me luck, guys. Hopefully I will have a finished scarf within the next 2 or 3 days. How exciting. See you soon. Hi guys, I had to bring you back because I have definitely stuffed up. Now, I'm not too concerned because funnily enough, in this particular pattern, I can see quite clearly where I've gone wrong, which is a huge difference because normally I sit there scratching my head for hours trying to figure out what went wrong. I'm like, the stitch counts are correct, everything looks right, it's in the right place. I've put the increases where I should have and everything looks okay. Why isn't this working? And I sit there for ages trying to work out what went wrong. But with this particular pattern, you can see quite clearly where you've gone wrong, which is fantastic because it means half the problem's already done. Now I just need to figure out how to fix it. But before I get to that, I just want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here's my scarf, and I think you can see the problem. So along here is the nice straight edge, and then along this side is that very gentle sloping increase. So I started down here, I started down this end, and this is my increase. This side is all increases every 8 rows. And then for some reason, the increases stop and I get a straight edge along here. And then I noticed my increases continued over this side. And then, of course, because I got to the middle and started my decreases, everything was looking fantastic until I laid it down and then realized what had happened. So let me explain what's gone wrong. What I should have done here is continue my increases on this side. But for some reason, my increases start on this side, and I think I know why. When I was at this row, a couple of stitches dropped off my needles. So it took me a while to figure out how to put them back on and make sure they were facing the right way and that everything was okay. And then I decided, okay, now's the perfect opportunity to just take a break, go and get something to eat, and then come back and try again. So I did that, and when I came back, I couldn't remember if I'd done an increase in that row or not. And I'd heard that if that was the case, you can just do an increase your next time around, and that would be close enough to where the increase should have been and you won't really notice a difference. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do that. What they meant by next time around isn't next row. It would have been the next 2 rows until you get back to that same side. But I didn't realize that. So obviously I've done 1 row, gotten to this side and started my increase repeats again, not realizing that it should have been on this side. So I've started increasing on this side when it should have been this side. So now I've got a straight line up this way and my increases and decreases on this side when they should have been on this side. So now that means I'm going to have to frog all of this back down to here and then figure out where I'm up to in the pattern and keep going, which I feel really brokenhearted about, but also I feel really positive about it because not only have I worked out what's gone wrong, I know how to fix it. And normally that issue itself takes me so long. It's such a long process. And I sit there scratching my head thinking, what have I done wrong? The stitch count's right. Everything looks okay, but for some reason it's not working. And it takes me forever just to figure out what went wrong. And then I have to try and figure out how to fix the issue. But for this pattern, I can see very clearly what I've done wrong and I know how to fix it. I guess what I'm going to do is look up, there's a video by Flower City Fibers that basically says how to fix your mistakes with the Sophie scarf, which is quite literally exactly what I need to do. So I'm going to sit down and watch that video. Hopefully she has a few tips and tricks for me to work out exactly how to figure out where I'm up to in the pattern. So I know what I need to do to frog all of that. I know I'm going to have to put a lifeline in here so that I can frog this back and not go any further than I need to. But then I need to work out how many rows I've just gotten rid of and how many I've completed so that I know where I'm up to in my pattern. So hopefully she has some advice for me on how to do that. The only other way I can think of to do this is to count all of these rows and work out from there how many I frogged, and then count backwards in my progress chart. So essentially, I've just been keeping track. I've written it all out, and I've just been ticking them off as I go. But now I'm going to have to frog a lot of that. I'm going to have to figure out exactly where I'm actually up to and start again. So I'm relieved that I don't have to frog the entire project, that I don't have to rip it all out and just, oh, start again, don't worry about it. I'm relieved that I'm not at that point where I'm just so frustrated with doing this, I'm just going to give up and not finish it. That's not the case. I've really got a positive mindset about this because I'm so happy that I could tell exactly what had gone wrong and what I need to do to fix it, which is fabulous. So as upsetting as it is to have to frog so much work, I'm grateful that I know what to do. So now I just need to work out if there's any particular way to do that. So that's what I'll be doing next. I'll be frogging this, going back to here and starting again, and hopefully keeping track with my stitch marker and making sure that doesn't happen again. So, all right, guys, I'll get into that and I will come back to you once I've been able to set it all straight, once I've got my head around where I'm at, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, wish me luck. Okay. So I have watched that amazing video, How to Fix Mistakes in Your Sophie Scarf, I-cord edges, drop stitches and more, by the wonderful Flower City Fibres. And what I'm currently trying to do here is to thread a lifeline through my stitches so that I can then go back, unfortunately, and frog the top half of my scarf. So I've got just some plain white yarn that I am hoping should contrast quite easily. So I'm just going to pull that through, and I'm just looking to, oh, my light just went off. Just looking to pull that through these stitches, and hopefully then it will keep the rest of the scarf safe when I frog the top half. So I'm hoping that I'm doing this correctly. So please remember, this is not a tutorial video on how to do this. This is just me sharing my journey and how I'm going with this. So please don't use this as a how-to video or a guide, because I don't really know what I'm doing. So I'm hoping this will work. Now, I don't know if I am picking this up correctly or not. I guess I'll find out the hard way, really, won't I? So there's my lifeline. It's just in there. I didn't go through the I-cord edges because that's just knitted stitches anyway that will separate, and then I'll have to thread them back onto the needles anyway. So I've got my lifeline there. So let's test this. This is so sad. This is so sad. Look at all this work all the way down to my lifeline. I've got to frog all of that. I'm so upset, but you know what? I'm then going to have all the fun of re-knitting it. So, you know, never be sad about frogging your work. I say that a lot. But yeah, never be sad, because it's just, you get to do it again anyway. So it's just extra knitting that I get to do, which I enjoy. So I don't have a problem with that. Ooh, okay. So, oh, here we go. I'm not sad. I'm not sad. Oh. So here we go, moment of truth. And the lifeline stopped it. So I can't frog that anymore. Yay, the lifeline worked. Okay, so now I need to re-pick up these stitches, and then I need to work out how many row repeats I have done properly so that I know where I'm up to in the pattern, and then I can keep going. So I'll go and figure that out now, and then I'll meet you back here once I'm back up and running again. Okay, so I have frogged all of those rows, which again, heartbreaking, but you know, then I get to reknit them. So there was a very loud motorbike out there. What is happening today? Everything is really, really loud. Okay, so I've frogged all of those rows and I need to reknit them, which is fine. More knitting, I'm more than happy with that. I don't have an issue with that at all. I have my stitches back on my needle, and I have been able to work out exactly where I'm up to in the pattern. So there is a way of counting the increases, so I've worked that out. Thank you to the Flower City Fibres video. I learned a lot from that. I can tell you I'm going to learn so much. I have learnt so much already just making this project. I'm going to smash through the next one. It's going to be fantastic. But for now, I'm all organised. I now have my stitch marker showing me which side my increases are on, and then conversely later on, it will be where my decreases are. So I know this is my straight edge, this is my increase and decrease edge. I know where I'm up to in the pattern, so I now have another 5 repeats to continue with the increases, and then once I've done those, I switch to my decreases and keep going. So I'm going to keep knitting and hopefully finish this thing pretty soon. But for now, as I said, I'm learning a lot, which I'm really thankful for. I'm going to take all of that knowledge with me into the next project. So this is fantastic. As frustrating as it is to have to frog so much work, I mean, look at all of that yarn. Oh, it will get reused. It will be reknit back into the scarf, and I know exactly what I'm doing now. So I'm feeling really confident once again. Touch wood that everything goes according to plan from here on out. But if not, I will bring you back and have a chat about it. But hopefully for now, it'll just be smooth sailing and finish my increases and away we go. So hopefully I'll see you very soon with a finished scarf. We've finally made it. It's time to cast off or bind off, depending on where you are in the world. How exciting. Let's do this. All right, so we grab this yarn back here. I can't believe I'm almost finished. This is exciting. Okay, bring this one over the top. Don't split the yarn. That's one. And the next one. And that one. Whoop, grab that without splitting it. Pull that over. There we go. So now we've got 3 left. So now we do this purlwise. So we purl this one across. Seem to be splitting it. Okay, purl this one across. Did I pull that yarn in front? I did, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. So now pass that back to pull that over. And that one's done. Pull it back in front again. Purl this next stitch. And now pull that around the back again and pass this over. There we go. And last one, bring that yarn back around in front again. Purl this across, pull that over, pull that around the back, pass this last stitch over, and then I've got one stitch left. And to get rid of that, I need to take my needles out. I was going to say hooks and then stitches out. Don't want to take the stitches out. I'm going to cut my little tail. I'm going to thread this through. It's not the neatest cast off in the world, but you know what? I'm just so excited. And we're going to pass this through here and tie that off. And now I just need to weave my ends in and I'm done. Oh, I better do that now. Otherwise, I know what I'm like. It'll take me forever. So I'm just going to hide it up in through here. It doesn't have to be secured because it's already been secured all the way through. So I really just have to hide this thread. Make sure that it's nice and flat. Pull that through. All finished. Cut this one off. Oh, drop my scissors. Pull that through. Okay, where's the first end? I have to weave that into. There we go. Oh, 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 I'm so close. I'm so close. Grab my needle. This one's quite a big tail, but I can cut a lot of that off. So I don't need it to be quite so long. And thread this back up and through the edge, the lovely little cord edging that we've got here. Thread that up and out the side maybe. Don't want to pull it too tight. Just enough to be able to hide it. Don't need that now. And nice and secure, hidden away. I've done it. Take off my stitch marker very, very carefully. There we go. And here we have one finished, large-sized Sophie scarf. I did it, you guys. Yay! Oh, I'm so happy. Oh my goodness. Now, are there a lot of mistakes in this? Yes. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But do I love it? Absolutely. Look at what I did. I can't believe it. It's actually finished. From start to finish, I had hassles, I had issues, I made mistakes, I dropped stitches, I had so many things go wrong. But you know what? I wouldn't change anything because I learnt so much. This is just a brilliant pattern to learn from. So would I recommend it to an absolute beginner? So someone who's never picked up a set of knitting needles before? Probably not, only because I think you need at least the foundations. You need to know how to hold the needles, how to hold the yarn, how to cast on, how to cast off, how to do the knit stitch. Once you're familiar with those things, so even if you just made some dishcloths or just some knitted swatches and just repeated that until you were comfortable with it and then attempted this, that would be absolutely fine. Or if you're an absolute beginner who has never picked up a set of needles, but you know someone who has, and they were happy to guide you through this process, maybe then it would be an okay pattern for an absolute beginner. But I personally feel like if you've got a little bit of experience, not a lot, you don't have to have years and years of expert experience in knitting to attempt this pattern by any means, but just a little bit. I think if this is the very first thing you attempt after picking up a set of needles, I think maybe you might struggle just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. I'm hoping that you'll see from the video that I just made that I struggled with it and I've knitted before. So yeah, it's not a hugely complicated pattern, but you do need to know a few things before you get started. So maybe attempt a few smaller things first and then come to this. Was it fun? Absolutely. Was it frustrating? Absolutely. And will I make it again? Absolutely. So there you have it, guys. One viral Sophie scarf knitted by a crocheter. See, it can be done eventually. But to complete the look, my amazing beanie. Don't I look amazing? This particular scarf's actually going to be a Christmas present for my mum because I know she'll love it. Actually, maybe I need to make Mr. Yarniverse a new scarf for Christmas. I definitely owe him one after the last attempt, that's for sure. To be fair, he probably wouldn't wear this one either, but that's okay. Maybe I'll find the time to make myself one of these days. Wouldn't that be great? Definitely looks amazing. I actually love it. This yarn is just beautiful. Once again, this came from the Great Ocean Road Woolen Mills. It's called La Bella and it's a alpaca and merino blend. It's just lovely. Absolutely beautiful. I'll definitely be working with this again. I can assure you of that. So if you've been hanging in there and you've made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I genuinely am so surprised at how many people are willing to sit down with a nice hot cuppa, grab one of their whips and spend some of their time with me. That's just so lovely and it means the absolute world to me. So thank you very much for doing that. A special thank you goes out to all of my Yarny members. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to keep the channel going. Without your support, I wouldn't be able to make the content that you all love to see. And I wouldn't be able to spend so much time with all of you. So thank you so much for all of your support. It genuinely just means the world to me and I can't thank you enough. So thank you very much. I'm gonna go out and hit the town looking so fabulous with this amazing beanie. I don't know if you can see it in the background there, but it's wiggling away on the top of my head and it's kind of freaking me out a bit. So I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much, guys. Take care of each other and take care of yourselves because you absolutely do deserve it. And please don't make yourself a beanie like this one. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Take care. Bye for now.